So for today's podcast, I'm going to be talking about the economic inequality and the distribution of wealth in America. Income equality has created a huge gap between the top 1% and everybody else in the United States today. It is a problem that has been growing and growing for about 30 years now. America's top 10% make averagely 9 times more income than the bottom 90%. America's top 1% average about 184 times more in income than the bottom 90%. Mind you, this bottom 90% includes teachers, construction workers, nurses, and even doctors. When I read about these statistics, I was shocked. I could not believe that such a small percentage of our nation has so much power over the rest of us. The poorest of Americans and the middle class have barely any gap between them in regards to the distribution of wealth, and the richest of Americans, the top 1 to 5%, are actually off of the distribution chart because they're so much better off than everybody else. The top 1% of America has 40% of our nation's wealth. 8 out of 10 people in the bottom 80% only have 7% of the nation's wealth between them. In 1976, the top 1% took only about 9% of the nation's wealth. So this statistic is basically demonstrating the fact that this gap between the rich and the poor is increasing more and more as years go by. I think it's an important factor to consider when looking at the distribution of wealth, and what can maybe help it is looking at the middle class. I watched a story about a family on YouTube who's considered middle class. They both live, it's a family of 3, the mom and the dad and a little girl. They live in LA. Between the two of them, they make around $90,000 a year, and they're both teachers. But in today's economy, even two people in a 3-person family who make income still struggle to make ends meet, which really struck home for me, because the question regarding what really is the middle class is such a gray area. If you are a family of 4 and make anywhere between $46,000 to $140,000, you are considered middle class, which is baffling to me because personally I'm from a family of 4 and my parents are considered middle class, but they do make significantly more than $46,000 a year. Right now, my dad actually isn't working, so they're really struggling. So I could not imagine my family trying to survive just off $46,000 a year. I personally think America needs to make adjustments to what is considered middle class. Like the family from the YouTube video, my family struggled paycheck to paycheck, and it's just surprising that we're considered much better off than other people. Seeing all these statistics and watching the videos and all the facts regarding wage distribution, my opinion about it has changed a lot. I come from a very conservative family, and most of my family believes that the rich shouldn't pay significantly more taxes than the poor. Regarding the videos I watched and the articles I read, I very much believe that there should be a change in how much taxes people pay based on annual income. And I think if these changes take place, perhaps the huge wage gap between the rich and the poor will get smaller.